So as I stated in my Sonic Mania video, please go watch that if you haven't, it's a bit of aura, it is. That was created by fans to serve as a sort of sister game to Sonic Team's then upcoming big release, Sonic Forces. And I can vividly remember the marketing and the hype for this game, and to me, it looked sick. A return to the more serious tone of the 2000s games, past villains coming back for more, and a brand new threat in Infinite. As I alluded to in my Mania video though, it did not stick the landing. So let's get into it and see why exactly this turned out to be the case. The story literally starts with this.
Sonic, how I hate him.
Brother, you did not need to practically turn to the camera and be like, oh, this one's gonna be a real doozy, you just wait. From second one, it just instantly makes the upcoming events feel cheap, you know? Anyways, he's got some fancy new weapon, and Sonic is called into the city, kicking off the gameplay in Green Hill Zone with a sand pit. I get that it's the tutorial level, it's not supposed to be that complex, but bar one or two homing attack chains, you just need to boost. I'm sure this won't be an omen of things to come. A Sonic omen. Ugh.
Consider this your bad omen!
Anyways, Sonic makes it to the city and gets jumped by Metal Sonic, Shadow, Chaos Zero, and the iconic Zavok. Oh, and there's our new mysterious villain that Eggman's been hyping up. Cut to a black background with text stating Eggman's taken over 99.9% of the world, and all that's left to stop him is a small resistance force commanded by Knuckles, along with Amy, the Chaotix, Rouge, and Silver, who's popped in from the future to lend a hand, and a new recruit, our very own OC. Yes, we get to create our very own custom character. It's not something that I personally care about, but I've got to admit, from a business perspective, this is a genius gimmick for appealing to a certain portion of the fan base. You can choose what species they are, since they have different abilities. I picked the bird, since they have a double jump, and this is my brilliant creation, Bird the Bird, and her epic backstory is she wants revenge after being poked in the eye twice. That's why her eyes are blacked out and been poked too much. I have to point this out. Silver, what the fuck does sit rep mean? I mean, I've genuinely never heard this word before. Hello, this is me in editing it. I looked it up, and apparently it's actually a military term, and it just essentially means that you're asking for an update. Learned something new. Bit mental, innit? Also, every time they reference Sonic being killed in action, it gives me a proper giggle. Like, look at this clip.
Hill, and the resistance in the city is reporting that whatever it is that finished Sonic. Sorry, I'm still not used to saying that.
Now, I don't care who you are, that's funny. Anyways, we get given a gun on our first day. I guess the Sonic series does take place in the US after all. And we're sent off onto the first Avatar level, taking place in Chemical Plant. Woohoo! I haven't seen this in a while. I fucking love Chemical Plant. The OC controls quite similarly to Sonic, homing attack and all, except instead of a boost, we have the aforementioned gun, the Wispin. Yes, Wisps are back, although it doesn't really bother me here like it did in Lost World, since they act pretty differently to the past times they've been used. It's more so a cartoony excuse to give the OC a gun. The first one we're given acts as a flamethrower that just completely melts enemies. Although I feel the Avatar is kinda tough to get used to controls-wise, especially in 2D. They start off kinda slow and then just accelerate like mad out of nowhere with no indication. It feels very weird. They also have these QuickTime events, I'm assuming for spectacle, but they literally make no difference in the levels except for some extra points. You cannot fail them, so you might as well get rid of them.
I've just received some incredible news! Sonic is alive!
Well, that was a plot point for all of 2 minutes. I don't know why they even bothered pretending if they were just gonna pull it back this quickly.
My spy there says he's in a solitary confinement cell, and they've been torturing him for months.
Excuse me, he was tortured for months?
Already happening, Amy.
With how casual they've all been reacting to this whole war situation, this seems very out of place. It then cuts to Tails attempting to repair Omega, before being cornered by Chaos, to which Tails, who, mind you, has beaten stronger forms of Chaos before, immediately, I can only describe as presents himself to him. Come on, mate, this is a bit pathetic, really. Why did they make Tails like this? Yeah, he's more so the tech guy, but he's a capable old dude in his own right. At least have him try to put up a fight if you're gonna make him lose. But he's saved by none other than classic Sonic, who's drifted out of Mania to be a part of Sonic Forces. Although now they've retconned him to be from a different dimension rather than being Sonic's younger self. Although the point of Generations was going through past memories with his past self? What the fuck is going on? He's not just here for the story, he gets his own levels, and I really wish he didn't. These feel horrid to play, maybe even worse than Sonic 4 Episode 1. There's next to no feeling of momentum, gaining speed feels completely arbitrary, and the music? God, I didn't mention the music much in Mania, but each track was an energetic, lively bop. Hell, a good few new tunes were practically instantly iconic. Take songs like Studiopolis and Mirage Saloon, for example. Compare them with these retro, in air quotes, style tracks. And they sound like a toaster being beat with a rock. Moving on, we get a bit of backstory on the OC before Knuckles drops this banger of a line.
Oh man, that's not good.
None of this is good, Vector. That's why it's called war.
Move out of the way, Metal Gear and Fallout. This quote on war is beyond fucking profound. Thank you, Knuckles. Next, we get a boss with everyone's favourite, who other than Zavok. For someone who's been tortured for months, Sonic is extremely chipper. Apparently this is due to this being added for the English script in an attempt to make the story darker, as there's absolutely no mention of this in the Japanese script, so this just makes the mention of it extremely out of place since it's never addressed again. I have issues with this boss. One, it's boring as fuck. Two, you'd assume that you'd need to jump when he slams down to avoid the attack for, you know, some interactions for the fight. But no, this is Sonic Forces. You have to let him slam down onto the ground and not jump, then spam the homing attack in the air. Unintuitive, empathetic. The Zavok special. The backdrop of running around the Death Egg up in space is sick. Granted, I'm a bit biased since I do like me some Star Wars, but it taking place mostly indoors and being made up of mostly grey platforms makes it a bit boring for me, sadly. Next, we've got, I don't know what to call them, co-op levels, where Sonic and the Avatar play through a level together, and you can control who takes priority by either boosting as Sonic or shooting your gun as the Avatar, but the level will have occasions where it chooses on its own, which can make things a bit disorientating. But we do get the double boost paired with Fist Bump, the theme song of the game.
Yeah, that's how it's done. We've got unstoppable speed and timing. We just have to keep this up. Bingo, found a way in.
You should be able to get into...
The group get reports of Silver fighting our new enemy, and the level, Luminous Forest, is a stellar example of what is so poor about the level design. Boost to win has been a complaint since Unleashed, and I believe held no weight, a vast exaggeration. In Sonic Forces, however, it's absolutely correct. Granted, a lot of the levels in this game have the same problem, but this one in particular is a shining example. Silver gets his cheeks clapped, and I've just realised this is the first time we hear Infinite's name out loud. His boss fight is about average in my view, having to catch up to him while avoiding obstacles that he throws at you. But I feel like the theme and the character design are doing the heavy lifting for me, but the fight's inoffensive. It's a beat him in game, losing the cutscene deal though, taking the chance to glow before he escapes, and a lot of people complain about how overly arrogant he is to the point of making dumb choices like letting Sonic go, but I actually kinda like how up his own arse he is. Another classic Sonic level, and the only genuine praise I can give is when the music got super muted because I took a lower ground route. Over the course of the game, the avatar gets new Wispons, the guns, that can be equipped, which give new attacks and abilities. My overall favourite is the flamethrower that you start with, but you also get this lightning one that forms a whip and allows you to do a lightspeed dash over a trail of rings. Classic gets a pinball style level, and to no one's surprise, it controls awfully. Like, getting any height even when jumping at the edge of the paddles is a battle. The next Avatar mission I like in concept, having to navigate around these water slides, but Jesus is it a struggle to control. Anyways, at the area where Sonic fought Infinite, the OC finds one of the Phantom Ruby prototypes, and I want to say here, I really don't like how the Phantom Ruby is implemented. The Chaos Emeralds, I get. They turn thoughts into power, but they're mainly used for energy or time manipulation, superforms notwithstanding. The Phantom Ruby seems to do whatever the fuck it wants to. It creates copies of people, reality manipulation, power boosts, warping dimensions. Pick one, for fuck's sake! Also, there's this line.
It's been generations since I seen you. You okay?
I wish I was playing Generations, shaking my damn head. We've gotten to the point where we can access secret missions, small optional bonus stages that focus on certain level hazards or gimmicks. We're on to what I'd say is the poster mission for the game, Sunset Heights, and again it shows the primary issue that Forces has. You just blast through it with near zero effort and it takes maybe a minute, which is a real shame. Shadow's waiting at the end to attack, only for the real Shadow to drop in and explain, if you didn't work it out already, that Infinite can create replicas, explaining why Shadow, Chaos, and Zavok were back as part of Eggman's army. The next level is what Knuckles calls Operation Big Wave, of which he thought up in a minute, and boils down to, just rush him, he can't get all of us. 80% of the resistance is wiped out. Big grim. We've got a new Wispon, the Cube. It's basically the same as in colours, it was boring there, and it's boring now. Something I really enjoyed here though is Infinite coming in and fucking around with your perception of the level. The execution is super tame, but I feel like this is a concept they really should have gone all out with all throughout the game, not just a couple of levels. Like, imagine the different shit that you could warp the level to look like, or obstacles that you could put in if they really went all out with the concept of him messing with your mind. Afterwards, the OC takes him on directly, and this fight is infinitely more boring. It takes forever for him to come down to attack range for most guns, which melt his health, and the lightning whip can hit him almost everywhere, but does minimal damage. It's not a difficult fight, just time consuming. After a classic stage through Chemical Plant, which further exemplifies the whack physics, we have a boss against Metal Sonic. It's pretty simple, boost until you get close and homing attack, dodge hazards on occasion, nothing mind-blowing. We're given a new Wispon afterwards, the Drill. I like this one quite a bit. You can drill into the surface of the ground and charge it to do more damage and skip massive amounts of platforming. This would have been a cool addition for speedruns if there was more than a minute worth of level to skip anyway. Modern Sonic gets a Chemical Plant stage of his own, thank goodness. And whilst I enjoyed the outside section, the inside with the purple water moving the platforms is pretty dull. I find the concept of null space so cool, with Eggman and Infinite effectively throwing Sonic and the OC into a black hole, but instead of getting a full stage exploring this brand new realm, this really unique idea, it lasts all of 10 seconds. But I can't be too mad, this level is pretty dope, but fist bump blasting in the background is doing a lot of the heavy lifting, admittedly. We're now at the final battle of this war, and this has got to be the most pathetic big battle scene I've watched in any piece of media. The protags basically shove the enemies gently, although we get to see Eggman's plan, and you know what? It's pretty solid.
The sun will fall upon you all. Boom! The end! Your pathetic lives are over.
As schemes go, I can't fault that. Solid strat. However, the Phantom Ruby prototype the OC found begins to react, giving way to their final level, involving them getting to the top of the tower to destroy the fake sun. We're given a new gun, and I like this one a lot too. It shoots out gusts of air and allows you to hover for a limited time. Pretty cool. We're on to Mortar Canyon now, the only fully 3D Sonic stage in the entirety of Sonic Forces. I kinda like it, but you can just completely blast through it with a couple of air boosts, but it is admittedly kinda fun. New gun time, the Asteroid, which I just couldn't vibe with. It always felt really weird to me, and I just couldn't tell you why. The game then moves on to the final rematch with Infinite, and it's a literal copy-paste of the earlier Metal Sonic fight. Speaking on the bosses, I'm genuinely of the opinion that the way they've set them up is borderline false advertising. Nothing with Shadow, which I'd understand since the real one is still out and about. Chaos, though, got literally nothing. You could replace him with a piece of cardboard with a frowny face drawn on it and it would have the exact same impact. But thank fuck they gave Zavok his boss fight. Where would we be without him? After getting beaten for a third time, Infinite vanishes, and it's just occurred to me that it's never explained what exactly happens to him. I always thought he just fled, but apparently he's getting absorbed into the Phantom Ruby here. I don't think that's conveyed at all. You'd think this would be made into like a bigger deal, but oh well, it is what it is, I suppose. I do hope they try something with him again down the line, because overall I like Infinite as an antagonist who thinks he's a way bigger deal than he actually is, or him acting as this obsessive, unhinged freak. I truly believe he has potential, but he's tied to the questionable writing in Forces. Back onto the gameplay with the final classic Sonic level, and it's a prolonged auto-scrolling section. With these horrible physics, and the fact you can't use the D-pad not helping at all with the already imprecise 2D platforming. Oh boy golly gee, how lucky are we? Time for the final boss. The first phase starts with classic Sonic. It's an evolution on his earlier Egg Dragoon boss, but I struggle really badly with depth perception on which rock is hittable or if it's just going to go into the background. The second phase is as the OC, damaging the robot's arms and core. This is okay. My only real complaint is the arm slam that destroys the ground later on can come a little bit out of nowhere. Once it's beat, a smaller robot breaks free from its core, leading to a fight very akin to Colors before it, where we take control of Sonic to beat the robot. I gotta comment on the music here. The classic track stinks, the OC's was pretty average, but here, the track combined with Eggman being completely mute throughout, it just hits different. Take a listen. It's tense, it has that sense of gravitas that the whole game's been missing, and it's the most tasteful of the boost until you're near the boss and homing attack fetish that the devs seem to have, for lack of a better term, so it all gets a pass in my book. After the fight, classic Sonic fades back to his home, and I can't explain why, but hearing Tails say "true dat" makes me viscerally uncomfortable. The credits have this big emotional song, The Light of Hope. It's a good song, but it feels completely unearned, I'm sorry. You see the OC being congratulated by all your favourite Sonic pals, and the OC and Sonic part ways, ending the story of Sonic Forces. There's still more to cover though. How lucky for me. You are rewarded with a new Wispin for clearing the game though, Void. It shoots a mini black hole which is broken, but in a funny kind of way, and the ability is a big ass teleport, so it makes sense why they waited till the end of the game to give you this. Oh, and you get this new title screen when beating the game. Oh, isn't that nice? I wrote colon 3 in my notes. I don't know why. Forces did release with some free DLC. Episode Shadow, a small prequel starring none other than the Ultimate Lifeform himself. It showcases Team Dark on reconnaissance when Omega's reportedly destroyed. It gives us Infinite's backstory, the whole reason that he is the way he is. It's because Shadow beat the shit out of him and he devolved into a little piss baby. There's only 3 levels, but they're decently designed. Nothing amazing, but nothing terrible. Shadow has a new ability that I'm calling the Big Homing attack. It's a shame you can only do it on very telegraphed enemy lines. It would be cool if you could do it, for example, with a couple of enemies to get to new routes for platforming. And I want to speak briefly on characterization. It's something that the main game kinda isn't great at. Sonic's like obnoxiously chipper. Like, yeah, he's supposed to be like the positive force of the game. Pun not intended, but Tails just cowering at any remote threat, Knuckles like not thinking about the troops that his lives are entrusted to. Shadow's characterization is pretty bang on, which is quite surprising at this point in the franchise's history. They were very much angling for him to be the grumpy Vegeta rival, no depth except I want to hit Sonic type of character, even though Vegeta does have depth, he has a hell of it. But they got him pretty bang on as part of the group, introverted, but still doing what it takes to get the job done. It features remixes of past songs connected to Shadow, and they're all bangers. Remixes of Westopolis, White Jungle, and Supporting Me respectively. You also get to play as Shadow on most of the main levels instead of Sonic as well. I haven't spoken on the music much. I do like that it's pretty different depending on the characters, and whilst I don't mind the soundtrack as a whole, it's one of the weaker ones in my view. A lot of the songs just aren't my personal cup of tea, but there are some that I do like quite a bit. Sonic's is the usual rock kind of tunes that you'd expect, and I'd have to say standouts are Sunset Heights, the interior of Network Terminal, which gives me kind of SMT vibes. And Mordor Canyon. The OC has these more electronic vocals. Like I mentioned, these aren't usually my kind of thing, but there are some that I don't mind. Those being Spaceport, Prison Hall. I specifically like the start with the piano segment and the overall beat, but the dubsteppy bits later on lose me. And Guardian Rock, but I like how the vocalist sounds more than the lyrics themselves, if that makes sense.
Right now I realize I can do it if I try. I can do anything, everything to turn around.
To be honest, there isn't any classic Sonic song that I like, but the Egg Dragoon one is the most tolerable out of them all, I guess. Pretty much all of the Arsenal Pyramid songs I like. It's just a shame that the level doesn't give them enough time to leave more of an impact. And of course, the main theme Fist Bump is a banger. Probably the most cheesy out of the main themes for Sonic, but who doesn't love a bit of Parmesan, huh?
It's a brand new day. We have turned the page. Never knew how much I needed somebody to help me this way.
Lastly, Infinite's themes. Both his boss theme And his vocal song on the OST, again, very cheesy, but they go hard, come on.
When every day you know has come and gone, alone with dying, rising high, only scars remain all through. I'm finding the ashes, losing the fire, and there's no one left to carry. This is an illusion. Open up your eyes and pain. I can't resist, but that's what it takes to be infinite.
Forces has one more piece of DLC, Super Sonic for Modern and Classic. The cheeky bastards at Sega tried to sell this as a feature, but after some deservedly heavy backlash, they did relent and allowed you to use this iconic transformation for free. As they fucking should. Never forget what they try to pull. They don't really do anything to save how the characters control, sadly. Classic Sonic is still just as awkward, except now he has the usual higher jump, faster movement, etc. I thought they gave Modern Sonic his flight back from Generations, but no, I just forgot how broken his air dash already was. But Modern Sonic is definitely more fun just blazing through levels. Well, more than you already do. Forces also has these numbered green rings after getting all the red rings in a level, then silver rings after that. These are purely for trophies / bragging rights. I did consider 100%ing and getting everything for the video like I did in my Lost World video, but then I remembered I'd have to play loads more Sonic Forces and quickly came to my senses. Sonic Forces is kind of a confusing mess. It wants to appeal to the Dark Age early to mid 2000s fans, but doesn't know how to. It doesn't help they spent 4 years on just the engine alone and 1 year on the actual game, meaning so many things were left on the cutting room floor and resulting in a ton of missed potential. I genuinely think Forces is a worse game than 06. Sure, 06 is probably worse on a technical level, but at least it was ambitious and some of the bugs are funny enough to keep interest, but Sonic Forces is beyond by the numbers and boring, and 2 to 3 hours at the most. Absolutely one to avoid. But what do you think of Sonic Forces? Do you think it's worse than Sonic 06 or one of the worst games in the franchises, or do you think it's overhated? Please let me know in the comments below, and I want to thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please leave a like, and if you want to see more from the channel, please subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you, and bye bye.